Have you ever poured your heart into being kind, supportive, and caring for someone, only to feel invisible? You give your time, your energy, your empathy, and yet, the person you're hoping to connect with seems to look right through you. It's a painful paradox. Kindness, the very thing we're told builds bridges, sometimes leaves us feeling unnoticed, unappreciated, and alone. If you're listening to this, chances are you've experienced this. Maybe you've wondered, why don't men notice me? Why does my kindness seem to push them away instead of drawing them closer? Today, we're diving deep into this question through the lens of Stoic philosophy, a timeless framework that teaches us how to live with wisdom, resilience, and self-respect, especially when it comes to love. This is when kindness backfires. Why men don't notice you. Stoic love. Over the next hour, we'll explore why your kindness might not be landing the way you hope, how Stoic principles can help you reclaim your power, and how to cultivate a love that's grounded in strength, authenticity, and balance. Let's begin. The kindness trip. You've probably heard the saying, kindness is never wasted. It's a beautiful sentiment, but in the context of romantic relationships, it's not always true. Kindness, when given without boundaries or discernment, can sometimes backfire. Let's unpack why. Imagine this scenario. You meet someone you're interested in. You're thoughtful, attentive, and go out of your way to make them feel special. You listen to their problems, offer support, and maybe even put their needs before your own. You're doing everything right, according to what society tells us about love and relationships. But instead of growing closer, they seem distant. They don't reciprocate your efforts. Worse, they might take you for granted or overlook you entirely. Why does this happen? To understand, let's turn to Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in living according to reason and virtue. The Stoics, thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, believe that our happiness and fulfillment come from focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. In relationships, this means controlling our actions, intentions, and self-respect, while accepting that we cannot control how others respond to us. When kindness backfires, it's often because we've fallen into what I'll call the kindness trap. This is when we give too much of ourselves without ensuring that our efforts are valued or reciprocated. We mistakenly believe that the more we give, the more we'll be seen, appreciated, or loved. But here's the hard truth: excessive kindness, especially when it's one-sided, can signal a lack of self-worth. And in romantic dynamics, this can make you less noticeable, not because you're not enough, but because you're giving away your power. Let's break this down further. When you're overly kind without boundaries, you might inadvertently communicate that you're always available, that your needs are secondary, or that you're willing to accept less than you deserve. This can lead to being overlooked because, in the eyes of others, your kindness becomes expected rather than exceptional. It's like a painting that blends into the wall because it's always there, beautiful, but no longer remarkable. The Stoics would remind us here of a key principle: focus on what is within your control. You can control your kindness, your intentions, and how you present yourself, but you cannot control whether someone notices you, values you, or reciprocates your feelings. By understanding this, you can begin to shift your approach to kindness, making it a reflection of your strength rather than a plea for attention. The psychology of attraction and Stoic wisdom. To understand why men might not notice your kindness, we need to explore the psychology of attraction. Attraction isn't just about physical appearance or shared interests. It's deeply tied to how we perceive value, confidence, and authenticity. Let's consider a Stoic perspective from Epictetus, who said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you pour all your energy into pleasing someone else, you're focusing on an outside event, their reaction, their approval. This can erode your inner strength, making you feel less confident and, paradoxically, less attractive. In romantic dynamics, men and people in general are often drawn to those who exude self-assurance and independence. This doesn't mean being cold or aloof, but rather having a sense of self that isn't entirely dependent on external validation. When you're overly kind without expecting mutual respect or effort, you might signal that you're seeking approval rather than offering a partnership of equals. This can make your kindness feel less like a gift and more like a transaction, one that's not reciprocated. Here's another layer. Humans are wired to value what is rare or hard to attain. This is called the scarcity principle in psychology. If your kindness is always available, always predictable, it may lose its impact. On the other hand, when you're Kindness is selective, given with intention, and reserved for those who earn it. It becomes a powerful expression of your character. The Stoics would encourage you to practice amor fati, the love of your fate. This means embracing every moment, including rejection or being unnoticed, as an opportunity to grow. If someone doesn't notice your kindness, it's not a reflection of your worth, but a sign that they may not align with your values. Stoic love isn't about chasing attention. It's about cultivating a life so fulfilling that you attract those who resonate with your strength and authenticity. The Stoic approach to self-worth. At the heart of why kindness backfires is a question of self-worth. If you find yourself constantly giving without receiving, it might be time to reflect. Are you giving from a place of abundance, or are you giving to fill a void? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. In the context of love, this means your self-worth must come from within, not from how others respond to you. When you tie your value to whether someone notices your kindness, you give them control over your happiness. This is a recipe for heartbreak. So, how do you build self-worth through a Stoic lens? Here are 3 practical steps. Practice self-reflection. Take time each day to journal or meditate on your intentions. Ask yourself, why am I being kind? Is it because I genuinely want to give, or am I hoping for validation? The Stoics valued self-awareness as a path to virtue. By understanding your motives, you can ensure your kindness is authentic, not a means to an end. Set boundaries. Kindness doesn't mean saying yes to everything. The Stoics taught temperance, the ability to moderate our actions. In relationships, this means knowing when to say no, when to walk away, and when to prioritize your own needs. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're a declaration of self-respect. Focus on your virtues. Stoicism emphasizes 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When you act with kindness, let it be an expression of these virtues, not a tool to win someone's affection. For example, be kind because it aligns with justice, treating others fairly, or wisdom, knowing what's right, not because you expect a reward. When you root your kindness in self-worth, you stop seeking validation from others. You become a beacon of strength, and that's when people, men included, start to notice. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're living authentically. Why men might not notice you. Let's address the elephant in the room. Why do men specifically seem to overlook your kindness? While every individual is unique, there are common patterns in how men perceive and respond to kindness in romantic contexts. Here are 4 reasons, grounded in psychology and Stoic philosophy. Over-availability. As we discussed earlier, constant availability can reduce perceived value. If you're always there, always texting back immediately, always ready to help, you might unintentionally signal that you have no other priorities. This can make men take your presence for granted. The Stoic solution? Practice detachment, not emotional coldness, but a mindful focus on your own life and goals. Lack of challenge. Men, like anyone, are drawn to people who inspire growth. If your kindness feels like unconditional acceptance, it might not challenge them to step up or invest in the relationship. Stoicism teaches us to act with purpose. Be kind, but also be clear about your standards and expectations. Mismatched values. Sometimes the issue isn't your kindness, but the person you're giving it to. If a man doesn't value emotional depth or selflessness, no amount of kindness will make him notice you in the way you deserve. The Stoic response is to accept this and focus on those who share your values. As Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Projection of neediness. Excessive kindness can sometimes be misread as neediness or insecurity. If you're giving to prove your worth, it can come across as trying too hard. Stoicism encourages authenticity. Be kind because it's who you are, not because you're trying to win someone over. The key takeaway here is that being noticed isn't about being more kind, it's about being strategically kind. Reserve your deepest efforts for those who reciprocate, who see your value, and who align with your vision of love. Stoic love redefining. Kindness in relationships. So, how do we practice kindness without falling into the trap of being overlooked? The answer lies in what I call Stoic love, a way of loving that's rooted in strength, self-respect, and mutual growth. Here are 5 principles to guide you. Give from abundance, not lack. In Stoic philosophy, true generosity comes from a place of inner fullness. Before you give your time or energy, ensure you're nurturing yourself, your passions, your goals, your well-being. When you give from abundance, your kindness feels like a gift, not a sacrifice. Practice discernment. not everyone deserves your kindness. The Stoics valued justice, which includes treating others fairly but also protecting your own dignity. Be selective about who you invest in. Ask yourself, does this person respect me? Do they reciprocate my efforts? If the answer is no, it's time to redirect your energy. Embrace detachment. This doesn't mean being emotionally unavailable, but rather letting go of attachment to outcomes. Be kind because it aligns with your values, not because you expect love in return. As Epictetus said, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Cultivate your own path. The most attractive people are those who are passionate about their own lives. Pursue your goals, hobbies, and friendships with vigor. When you're fulfilled independently, you naturally draw others toward you because you're not seeking them to complete you. Seek mutual growth. Stoic love isn't about one person giving everything while the other takes. It's about two people inspiring each other to be better. Look for relationships where both of you challenge and support each other to grow in virtue, wisdom, and love. By embracing these principles, you transform kindness from a potential weakness into a powerful expression of your character. You become someone who is noticed not because you're trying to be, but because your strength and authenticity are magnetic. Practical steps to be noticed without losing yourself. Know that we've explored the philosophy. Let's get practical. How do you apply Stoic love in your daily life to ensure your kindness is valued and noticed? Here are 7 actionable steps. Pause before you give. Before you offer your time, energy, or support, ask yourself, is this person worthy of my kindness? Are they reciprocating in some way? This isn't about keeping score but about ensuring mutual respect. Develop your own identity. Invest in yourself, your career, hobbies, friendships, and personal growth. When you have a rich, fulfilling life, you naturally become more attractive because you're not relying on a relationship to define you. Communicate your standards. Don't be afraid to express what you expect in a relationship. This could be as simple as saying, I value mutual effort and respect in any connection. Clear communication sets the tone for how you expect to be treated. Practice saying no. Saying no doesn't make you unkind, it makes you discerning. If someone asks for too much without giving back, politely decline. This reinforces your boundaries and signals that your time is valuable. Focus on quality, not quantity. Instead of spreading your kindness thinly across many people, focus on a few meaningful connections. Deep, reciprocal relationships are far more fulfilling than shallow ones. Reflect on past patterns. Take a moment to think about past relationships where your kindness wasn't noticed. What patterns do you see? Were you giving too much too soon? Use these insights to adjust your approach moving forward. Embrace rejection as growth. If someone doesn't notice or value you, see it as a gift. It's a sign they're not aligned with your path. The Stoics would remind you to focus on what you can control, your growth, your virtues, and let go of the rest. These steps aren't about changing who you are. They're about channeling your kindness in a way that honors your worth and attracts those who see it. The power of Stoic love. As we near the end of this journey, let's reflect on what Stoic love truly means. It's not about withholding kindness or becoming someone you're not. It's about loving in a way that's grounded in wisdom, strength, and self-respect. It's about recognizing that your kindness is a gift, one that should be given thoughtfully, to those who value it, and in a way that never diminishes your own light. When you embrace Stoic love, you stop chasing attention and start attracting it. You become a person who is noticed not because you're trying to be, but because you're living a life of purpose and authenticity. Men and people in general will be drawn to you not for what you give, but for who you are. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In the context of love, this means stop worrying about why you're not noticed and start being the person you're proud of. Be kind, but be wise. Be generous, but be discerning. Be loving, but be true to yourself. Your journey to Stoic love. If you've ever felt invisible despite your kindness, know this: you are enough. Your worth isn't determined by who notices you, but by how you live, how you grow, and how you love. By embracing the principles of Stoic love, you can transform your relationships not just with others, but with yourself. Kindness doesn't have to backfire. When given from a place of strength, discernment, and self-respect, it becomes a powerful force that attracts the right people into your life. So, take a deep breath, reflect on what you've learned today, and step forward with confidence. The right person, the one who sees you, values you, and grows with you, is out there. And by living with Stoic wisdom, you're already on the path to finding them.